I was able to stack up 9,000 points for deliver carriables during the hurricane event on Buried City. Now, I know what you're thinking, why in the world would I do this challenge on this event? And that's exactly why you should do it on this event. This challenge isn't difficult in the sense of doing it. It's difficult in the fact that it is very, very hard to find a lobby where there aren't other players doing this, reducing the total potential score on the crates that are around the map able to be delivered. While a map like Stella Montis has the highest potential in terms of how small the map is and how many points you can get, it is overwhelmingly populated with raiders doing this, and it makes it very, very challenging to get a decent score if you're doing this by yourself. I tried the Hurricane event last night on Spaceport and Buried City and spent about 2 hours working through this challenge, and only one time in one round did I find another raider turning in these crates across that full 2 hours. So, at least for this moment right now, the best chance for you to stack a high score is doing it during that event when nobody else is doing it there. Buried City is best for this during Hurricane because it is the smallest Hurricane-enabled map that has field crates and field depots. There are only 3 field depots on Buried City that have 3 crates that you can find per field depot. Now for your equipment, you're going to want to bring a few things. The first is a light shield to ensure you have maximum run speed. I recommend bringing a hole cracker. There's going to be comets, fireflies, hornets, wasps, all sorts of things that'll try and attack you while you're carrying the crates. Makes it super easy to eliminate them quickly and move back to carrying the crate. You need a ton of adrenaline shots, at least 30 is good. I usually overpack with these, but it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. Make sure you bring surge shield protectors because it is the hurricane event and you are going to take that persistent damage. And then the most important thing to remember to pack is a raider hatch key. This will ensure that you can protect your score once you've stacked up enough points and are ready to leave. Now I'm going to show you the spawn locations here, but I do highly recommend using an online interactive map that you can have up on one monitor or your phone as you're doing this challenge. It just makes it easier to navigate having something that you can zoom and interact with than something like a screenshot in this video. Once you spawn in, make sure that you have a full 30 minutes. You're going to need the entire time to do this challenge, so make sure you have a full match. Depending on where you spawn will determine where your route starts, but proceed to the field depot that is closest to where you spawn. From there, you essentially want to work through all of the potential spawn locations from the closest to you to the furthest away at each field depot. As far as I could tell, there were 3 crates spawned per field depot, so you're aiming for 9,000 total here, which is finding all 3 at all 3 field depots. Now when you find a crate, I highly recommend giving yourself an adrenaline shot before you pick it up. This just ensures you can run the maximum amount of time before you run out of stamina. Now while you are running with the field crates, I highly recommend trying to find little hills that you can use to slide. Sliding isn't really hindered by the wind as much as far as I can tell, and the weight of the carryable lets you slide a little bit further. So make sure that your sprint sliding down the hills as much as possible, which will help you carry momentum forward and get you to the field depot a little bit quicker than just running would. Something to keep in mind is what you're putting away when you pick up the field crate, because enemies are going to attack you and at times they are going to come out of absolutely nowhere. When you drop the field crate, it takes a little bit of time to pull out your weapon, especially if you still have your adrenaline shots out. I actually found it was a 2 to 3 second delay, and sometimes it would take a little bit longer before it would pull out the weapon that I wanted. So just keep in mind that when you do pick up the field crate, to know what you have out or what you've stowed and what's going to come out if you try and drop the crate and fight something. A trick to knowing whether or not somebody else is on the map doing this challenge is to look at the field depot where you turn in the field crate. There's a panel that will open up once somebody has turned in one field crate, and as long as that panel is flat closed, you know that all of the crates are still on the map for you to find. That said, if you do come into a field depot and it's already open, that means at minimum one crate has already been turned in, if not more. So you may want to use that as an indicator as to whether or not you want to bail out of a run and restart, or if you're good to go and look for all 3 crates in the area. Now when you are using the interactive map to determine where the crates can potentially spawn, keep in mind that it's great at showing you the location, but not at the precise level of which the crate is. And what that means is that you're going to see an icon on the map, and sometimes it'll be placed on what looks like the roof. And that crate can either be on the roof, or it could be on the 2nd floor, or it could be on the bottom floor. It could be anywhere within that building, so pay attention to the crate location and make sure you search the entire area before you move on to the next. Outside of that, there really isn't a ton more to this challenge. It is just a simple process of finding the crates and turning them in, but it can be a little challenging, especially with the wind slowing you down as you're doing it. You want to aim for about 10 minutes per field depot to ensure you get all 3 per depot within the full 30 minutes. It's super simple in process. It's just finding a lobby that you can do it in where you're not having other players turning crates with you. And as of right now, at least as of last night when I did this, nobody's doing it on Hurricane. So if you do it on Hurricane, you'll set yourself up for success. Now you can do this on Hurricane on other maps with the exception of Bluegate. Bluegate doesn't have anything to turn in terms of the field crates outside. It does have fuel cells and stuff like that you can turn in, but I don't think it's that much in terms of setting a higher score. Spaceport is decent, but the problem with Spaceport that I found last night is some crates will be placed 250 meters away from a field depot. And if you're trying to walk against the wind with a crate, it is a pain to do that full distance. It takes a ton of time for you to travel, and it's almost just not worth it in terms of the distance that you have to walk. Once you have delivered enough field crates and you're ready to go, make sure you take that Raider hatch to get back to Speranza safely, collect any loot if you haven't already, and watch your score fly up the leaderboard. That's going to be it for me today, y'all. Thanks for watching.